guys, thank you for joining me. My name is Paula Kramer and I'm going to take you through a face tutorial today. I've done my eyes already. I used the new Charlotte Tilbury blue palette that she came out with for spring, and I will do a tutorial on that. But today I'm going to take you through face. Now, when we talk about a fair skin that's 45 plus, I'm 48, 45 plus, we have some unique challenges. As I got older, I lost a lot of color in my face, so I always feel pale. So there's a couple of things that I would encourage you guys to do if you're over 45. Number one, we used to shade match the face to the neck and have it the same color. But if you've lost a lot of color in your face, usually your neck might have a little bit more color than your face does. So sometimes your skin will absorb color as you get older, and for that reason I highly recommend you go up half a shade or even a full shade in your foundation to give you just a little extra color. I wouldn't go more than a full shade, because more than a full shade means you're gonna have to really blend down, and then you have to get into the décolleté, which is a lot of extra work. But I would tell you that when you're choosing your foundation color, to go a half a shade up will give you a little extra color, especially when you've gone pale and you've lost color. So I'm going to start my makeup out today with two products. This is the Glowy Serum by Laneige. This is a makeup primer that feels like a moisturizing oil that you put on, but it really does hold the makeup. And today I'm going to be using the YSL All Hours Foundation. Now this is a full coverage foundation, and I find as I've gotten older, I look better with a little less makeup than I do more makeup. So I actually am going to use this and dilute it with the glowy drops. So instead of putting the glowy drops all over my face, I'm going to actually mix it with this foundation, and it'll thin the foundation out, but I'll still get a great coverage. So I'm going to do 2 pumps, which is more than enough foundation for your entire face with the YSL. A little bit really does go a long way with this foundation. And then I'm going to do 3 drops, 1, 2, 3, of the Glowy Serum. I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to mix it around. And that Glowy Serum makes the foundation much thinner and more whipped and light. It's a completely different texture. Now I'm going to place the color on my face with my fingertips very easily. And just so you can see that amount of foundation, just the 2 pumps, it's still left a lot on my hand. So you probably could get away with 1 pump and just be fine with that. Then I'm going to take my sponge, and I really want a sponge that's kind of dampened, because the damp sponge will take a bunch of the makeup off and make it have more of a soft focus look. So I'm going to just take this, blend it up. Notice I wiped the foundation where I kind of need it the most. So like in the T-zone area, where I have larger pores and more broken capillaries and just more to cover. And then I'm going to bring this around. Now, don't be afraid if you're 45 plus and you see the word matte, don't let it freak you out, because a lot of the mattes these days are not the same kind of matte that we had 20 years ago. It's not necessarily chalky just because it's matte. But I live in a very hot, humid environment. I live in Austin, Texas. So it's really hot and very humid here. So I actually feel like I do much better with a matte because it has better staying power. So I've kind of rubbed this on, and then I do one extra step, which is I take this brush right here. If you can see it, it's one of these, it's kind of like, I can't remember the name of it, but this one is from BoxyCharm actually. And I'm just going to blend it, and it's going to remove some of that makeup and just give it a little bit more of an airbrush finish. Now, normally with a matte foundation, you're going to see it be very matte, but those glowy drops are a little bit magical. I'm in love with them actually. That I'm definitely going to keep using them. I like it better than one of those silicone-based primers for sure. It makes every foundation, when I put a few drops into every foundation, it shears it out and it looks great. Okay, now on to my concealer. Where is my concealer? Here we go. Clé de Peau makes a great concealer. It lasts a really long time. It's a little more pricey than some of the other concealers out there. I also love the Revlon Age Rewind Concealer. This is also a great concealer. I would definitely put it up against the Clé de Peau, but I'm gonna be covering a pimple today. Yes. So I wanted something a little drier feeling. I do also like this Hey Honey concealer. It's a nice concealer as well. So I'm gonna use my Clé de Peau. I find, because your body temperature is 98.7, so it's almost 100 degrees. And the room temperature in here is around 72 degrees. So there's around a 30-degree difference between the product temperature and my body temperature. So when you put product on that's a little bit dry and you use your fingertips will start to melt the product, and you won't have to use very much, and it'll make it more creamy, so that when you put it on, ooh, pretty. I'm just gonna take it with my fingertip right where I want it. And you're not gonna have to smudge it that much. Like, once you put this on, it's pretty good. A little right there. And then, so, I'm just gonna take my little sponge and just barely blot. There's just nothing covering that. It's bad. You know, the reason I have this is because I went to bed without taking my makeup off a couple of nights ago, and this is how I'm paying for it. So that's it. And then I'm gonna put my bronzer on. I love this Chanel bronzer. I just find that it gives a beautiful color. If you have fair skin, you should definitely try it. And I use kind of a fluffy brush because I want a light hand when it comes to bronzer. I don't want a whole lot of color. But when we talk about adding color back into your skin, this is a great option because it really will give you a very natural bronze without having to use very much product at all, and it won't add any cakiness or powdery, chalky kind of look to the skin. So this, you can see, if you're looking, how it's a very subtle bronze, but it just, and I will tell you, I've had this bronzer for so long, I probably need to get a new one. I heard they changed the formula of this and it's really heartbreaking. I don't know why they would ever change the formula of this bronzer. It just gives a peachy glow to the skin that is, it lasts all day long and it looks beautiful without, you know, you can't tell there's any bronzer on. In person, it just looks really soft and peachy. And then I do love a good contour because I think a contour makes a huge difference. I'm using the Too Faced Cocoa Contour, and the kind of contour that I really love is more of this gray tone. So if you have fair skin, something with a little green or a little gray in it versus something orangey, this is a bronzer, this is a contour. So I like to use the contour brush. This one is Cover FX. One side is more of a contour, and then this side is for baby contouring. This is the best part of putting on. You can thin out your nose in really 2 swipes. So I take it all the way up and I go right to the edge of my nose, and it's gonna give me a shadow and make my nose appear thinner. I'm taking it down, but that shadow, you're really not gonna blend out too much. It gives you that impression of a more sculpted nose. And if you take it all the way up and you keep it kind of high up on the nose, it makes it a much thinner nose. And then I'm taking my bigger side and I'm gonna sculpt my cheeks. I'm going kind of under the cheek, and it's gonna lift up that cheekbone. Now I put bronzer down here, so I don't really need a lot of contour down here. And I don't really need to contour that much up here, but I'm gonna just add a little extra. So that you can see it really lifts the cheekbone. And then I'm gonna take this side and do the same. And then the only thing I have to do to add a little extra color is a little blush, and I'm gonna luminize my face with highlighter. So the blush that I'm using is this Chanel, and it's 360 Hyper Fresh. It's very pink, which I love. It only takes a little bitty bit. And when you put your blush on, don't put your blush down here because it'll drag your face down. If you do your blush, do it up high so it draws the eye up and it hits the top of that cheekbone so it's higher up versus it sagging down. So I just take a little bit and then a little bit on this side. And I'm just gonna blend it with my sponge. I use only one sponge per makeup application. Like I don't reach for 4 different sponges. I use the same one for the whole face. So I'm just taking it, giving a little blend. And then I am gonna set just under the eyes. I'm using the Extraordinary Translucent Powder by Ciate, and I'm just taking my fingers and pat it on just underneath. We're almost done. I use lots of different highlighters. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. But this one is actually an eyeshadow. I should show you this. Remember Bare Minerals? So they made a famous eyeshadow called Nude Beach. It's like a little bit of a legend, I think. And I'm gonna take my fingertip and dip my finger in this mineral eyeshadow. And I'm just gonna hit right here. And then a little bit for this side. And now for a little lipstick. I'm going to be using just a little bit of Jennifer's Nude. This is the Jennifer Lopez shade that they did. I stocked up on these. I think I bought 4 or 5. It's kind of between a gloss and a lipstick. But since I had dramatic eyes done today and I put a lot of color on my skin, I don't want to do too much lip. So there you go. So if you have any questions, I will definitely put them in the comments. I'll answer any questions you have. And again, if you are new to the channel, which you are because this is only my 2nd video, then please hit subscribe, join me, and I'll take you through all kinds of product tips and tricks. I've been working in the beauty industry for over 20 years and have worked with estheticians. I've worked as a makeup artist, and I also work with hairstylists. So I have lots to share and lots of inside scoop.